The vast expanse of the ocean can be a lawless place, where conservation is either non-existent or difficult to enforce. Destructive and illegal fishing practices are causing fish stocks to crash. Could new surveillance technologies finally end this epidemic?
Those with the responsibility and passion to protect marine ecosystems are increasingly relying on these ocean spies.
Hey everyone, I'm Tyler. And this is my younger brother, Alex.
And together, we're the Water Brothers. We're gonna take you on an adventure around the world to explore the state of our blue planet, a planet defined by water and its ability to sustain life.
So join us on our journey as we explore the world, looking at the most important water stories of our time.
And together, we will learn how to better protect our most precious resource.
We live in an age of surveillance, where every person's movements and use of their phones or computers can be tracked at virtually any moment. While many believe that governments have overstepped their spying powers, there's one region of the planet where surveillance technology is desperately needed and easily justified: the ocean.
Recent advancements in robotic, satellite, and drone technology are allowing humans to roam the ocean and study its wildlife like never before. Perfecting these technologies for maritime use and deploying them on a large scale will be imperative in protecting marine ecosystems from exploitation and fighting the widespread problem of illegal fishing.
It's a massive problem right now. It's really fueling this overfishing issue that we're seeing in our oceans. It's basically anybody out there who's catching things that they're not supposed to be catching, or catching things and not telling anyone they're catching. And if you have people out there doing it without anyone know about it or doing it illegally, it can cause these fish stocks to crash and cause huge environmental implications.
One of the greatest crimes against nature plays out daily on the high seas. Outlaw vessels are participating in illegal fishing on an industrial scale, going largely undetected.
Illegal fishing is a big problem, and it's a global problem. There's studies that indicate up to $23 billion worth of fish is going missing a year due to illegal fishing. If you work that out, that's around 1 in 5 fish that comes to market is probably illegal. So it's a huge problem, and it's one that needs solving.
An alarming 85% of global fish stocks are already overexploited, depleted, or in recovery from exploitation. While many governments are finally waking up to this crisis and enacting stronger fishing regulations, when fishermen ignore these laws, they undermine our best efforts to restore ocean ecosystems. These acts are collectively known as IUU, illegal, unregulated, and unreported fishing.
So now you've got a volume of fish that's come out of the ocean that the scientists aren't aware of, nobody's aware of, so they can't be taken into account from any maths that is done about working out what the maximum yield from the sea is. So you skew all the scientific data. They say you can take, 5 in every 10 fish, and what's actually being taken is 7 in every 10 fish.
Unlike the vast majority of our food and livestock that is farm-raised, fish are some of the last wild animals we hunt on a large scale. So it's very difficult to determine how or where wild fish are caught. And because seafood exchanges so many hands before arriving on our plates, it's nearly impossible to tell if a fish was caught in compliance with the law. Chances are, if you've ever eaten seafood, you have consumed something that was caught illegally.
These fish are worth millions of dollars. A hold of tuna can be $1 million easily, but the licenses they're avoiding are hardly anything. So why they're doing it is just purely greed.
Illegal fishing is a global problem, but for nations where seafood is the primary source of protein, it can have a devastating effect on food security and the local economy. We've come here to Palau in the South Pacific to see what the fight against illegal fishing is like on the front lines, and the bold actions this small country is taking to protect one of the most pristine marine environments on Earth.
Palau is an archipelago of 250 small islands surrounded by one of the most vibrant marine ecosystems in the world. These rich waters have sustained its people for thousands of years.
The ocean is the lifeblood of the plant people. That's where we get our protein. That's where we teach our children the art and the techniques of fishing to care for the ocean.
Like many island nations in the Pacific, Palau's waters are prime habitat for valuable marine species. For decades, Palau sold commercial fishing licenses to foreign boats to catch tuna. But the government had no effective means to monitor how much these boats were actually taking. And many other boats were fishing without licenses at all, undermining their efforts to sustainably manage their fishery.
During my lifetime, I can tell how much the fish population has really declined, not only within the reef, but even outside the reef. It's not like the olden days that I knew.
Without proper protection of fish stocks, Palau's future is at stake.
There's only one way to see what Palau's really trying to protect, and that's to get in the water and go diving. Conservation has always been a part of Palauan culture through a practice called the bull.
The bull is a type of moratorium or a type of protection measure that chiefs used to put on certain areas, specifically in the ocean, when they deemed those areas were being overfished or the fish population was getting scarce. What they would do is they would weave a coconut frond and place it somewhere in the village, and that would signify that somewhere out there in their waters was an area to be protected, and anyone coming to fish in that area was responsible to find out where that was. And the consequences for breaking that sometimes would be punishable by death.
In 2009, Palau created the world's first shark sanctuary, banning shark fishing in their entire exclusive economic zone, or EEZ. And in 2015, they went a step further, banning all foreign commercial fishing throughout their waters.
Reckless and destructive fishing practices, overfishing, and illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing have robbed us of our resources. I will work to declare Palau's waters closed to commercial fishing and make our 200 miles EEZ a marine sanctuary. Ending commercial fishing will give nature a chance to heal.
Palau's waters have become one of the world's largest marine protected areas. However, despite this impressive achievement, foreign fishing fleets continue to come here to illegally catch tuna, sharks, and many other species. Like with many developing countries, it's just too expensive for Palau to monitor its vast ocean territory with conventional methods such as boats and planes.
So the Palauan patrol boat Remelique is just pulling into port, and they brought with them 2 boats they've caught fishing illegally offshore. So we're gonna go on board these boats and see what they've been catching.
These fishermen had come from over 1,000 kilometers away in the Philippines and were caught fishing in Palau's newly created National Marine Sanctuary.
So they've just opened up one of their hatches for us, and it's just filled with tuna. This is just one of them. This is the yellowfin. But they say that there's at least 80 in this hatch alone. There's 4 or 5 other hatches, and then there's another whole boat which is full of tuna. So it just goes to show how one boat can have such a huge impact on their tuna population.
These boats are feeding larger vessels. The usual modus operandi of the illegal fishing fleet is that there are hundreds of these smaller vessels that go out and they catch a certain amount of tuna or whatever they're targeting. And what they'll do is they'll leave the territorial waters of where they're fishing and then meet up with a larger mothership and then offload their catch, restock on ice, restock on fuel, restock on provisions, and then go at it again. I think the real target that we should be looking for are those motherships, the larger corporations that make this effort even possible.
As of now, we're still doing our investigation.
What's the name of the owner? Conching. Okay, you're right, Conching.
The crew pretty much gonna be detained here, but the captains are gonna be in jail for what they did. To me, the crew they didn't do anything wrong because they're not the one that drove the boat there. It's the captain.
Why is it that boats like this are coming so far to countries like Palau to fish? Well, why aren't they fishing in their own waters?
You know, Alex, I think that's just a testament to the fact that the oceans are in trouble. We've been seeing an increased number of these type of boats in our waters, and I think that just is evidence that the ocean in general is running out of fish.
Them coming in and fishing in our water, we can end up like the Philippines. Because most of the time when we board their boat, they tell us that they don't have fish in their water. So we tell them that You cannot come to our water and do this to our water because we'll end up without fish too.
They're just about to begin selling the confiscated fish, and unfortunately, Palau is losing tens of thousands of dollars every time they send out a patrol boat to try and catch these illegal fishermen. But thankfully, all this fish today is going to be sold to the locals at a reduced price, so none of it is going to go to waste.
While the sale of confiscated fish helps offset some of the costs of imprisoning illegal fishermen, it does not make up for the tremendous expense of patrolling that can be as much as $70,000 per trip.
We only have enough fuel for 6 to 8 patrols a year, and that's not effective. The area that we're trying to cover is an area approximately the size of France, and that's what, 623,000 square kilometers. Every time we go out, we're catching illegal fishing vessels, and it kind of makes you wonder what's out there when we're not out there. Right now, we're trying to find creative ways, actually any ways we can, to try and tackle the issues of enforcement, the issues of surveillance, and really try to create a level of deterrence to make sure people know that Palau is not an option anymore when it comes to poaching fish, when it comes to illegal fishing.
Palau wants the world to know that poaching will be severely punished and now burns many of the confiscated boats. However, their limited resources means only a fraction of the total number of poachers are being caught. What's needed now is new methods to catch illegal fishermen before they have a chance to kill. And one solution is emerging from an office building on the other side of the world.
So today we've come just outside of Oxford, England, to visit an innovative satellite surveillance program called Project Eyes on the Seas.
In 2015, the Pew Charitable Trusts and the satellite applications Catapult Company launched Project Eyes on the Seas, a cutting-edge global satellite monitoring system that helps authorities detect suspicious and illegal fishing activities. At Catapult's headquarters, we met Bradley Soule, who showed us how they are able to monitor fishing activity from around the world in almost real time.
So Brad, we're in the operations center. Why don't you tell us what we have up here on the big board? I mean, it is a map of the world, but there's a lot more going on.
Right. Well, it looks like a map to our eye, but in actuality, we're only looking at the vessels that are being captured by many different satellites. And there's really no base layer here, yet you can still see the shape of the continents solely by virtue of the density of vessels.
At any given time, hundreds of thousands of large vessels are traversing the oceans, moving virtually all of our products or engaging in fishing. To help governments keep track of this vast amount of traffic and avoid collisions at sea, all ships larger than 300 tons are required to use a system called AIS, or the Automatic Identification System.
So let's go ahead and sort of unwrap the world here. So here you can see all the vessels on the world that we have tracking information for right now through AIS. And then I can toggle them off, and now you're able to see just the fishing vessels or the vessels related to fishing around the world that we've identified so far.
Unfortunately, boats less than 300 tons do not have to use AIS, and ships engaged in illegal activity can simply turn it off whenever they please. But by combining AIS information with satellite tracking and imagery data, Project Eyes on the Seas can detect many of these dark boats.
Although the project has only been in operation for a couple of years, it has already played an instrumental role in the capture and prosecution of numerous illegal fishing vessels.
During one of the demonstrations by the people from Pew, Project Eyes on the Seas, we were able to identify a vessel that was suspect, entering our exclusive economic zone and then exiting again and going back and forth. And because of that, we sent the Ramalig out to interdict, and they found that that vessel did have shark carcasses on board, which are illegal to possess in Palau. We prosecuted them and sent them through the system, and it was a very good example of a collaborative effort with a successful outcome.
For the first time, multiple surveillance technologies have been combined into one centralized database and ship tracking system that can be shared with the world.
A lot of this information already existed in different places, but you had to pull it up on multiple screens. You couldn't fuse it all into one place and then have analysis run on it that showed you where the problems were.
With just a small team of analysts, Eyes on the Seas can alert government officials that illegal fishing is occurring in their waters, or if a boat suspected of carrying illegally caught fish is arriving in a port and should be inspected before being allowed to offload its catch.
We want to make the world a smaller place because these boats are moving everywhere. And you can't expect a busy port official in one part of the world to know exactly what he or she should check on the other side. So we want to bring that information to them and really just give them a leg up, because the way it works right now, for the most part, unless a vessel was operating solely in the waters of that country, they really don't know what that vessel has done and where it's been. And what we're trying to do is give them an opportunity to ask intelligent questions that might point to a more significant problem somewhere else. And also making sure that people in the supply chain, so receivers, retailers, they also can know where that fish is coming from. Because you need the power of the market as well to actually drive a lot of that change.
Project Eyes in the Seas is already helping combat the scourge of illegal fishing. But satellites cannot spot every boat fishing illegally, especially when they're small or do not ever transmit their position. However, one group of new technologies that could assist in these efforts is drones.
So this is one of my fixed-wing drones. This one's made by 3D Robotics, and it's called the Arrow. So we use fixed-wing drones a lot instead of the quadcopters that most people are familiar with when they think about drones, because they can cover longer areas. They have a longer range and endurance. That's mostly due to the fact that it can rely on the wing as opposed to having to hold itself up with propellers. So this one right here, this one could fly for maybe about an hour and a half. I have another version of this that we do for longer range stuff that can fly for on the order of 5 or 6 hours, and it stays up for, it can cover about 150 kilometers.
And how much does a system like this cost, and how does it compare to, say, the conventional forms of surveillance technology that's in use today?
Yeah, so this system costs on the order of $1,500. So if you compare that to the cost of flight hours or something for a plane, which we would use, it's just a minor subset of it. Planes are very expensive. Boats are expensive as well. If you want to take a big research vessel out, it's going to cost you on the order of 50 grand a day. Whereas, if you fly one of these things, you pay a one-time cost of $1,500, and then all you have to do is charge the batteries every day.
The government of Palau is already testing out the capability of drones to complement its enforcement efforts. But it's not alone. For the past decade, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, has been testing the ability of advanced military-grade drones to conduct a wide range of maritime surveillance and science missions.
They add the most value, I would say, in remote locations, remote and hostile environments. Most enforcement boats maybe go 18 or 20 knots, maybe 25 at the most. The Puma can fly twice that fast. And when you have a big ocean out there and a few different targets, you can fly the Puma out to determine which one is actually a potential violation. And then you roll your enforcement asset there before you actually make a boarding and make a case. If there are multiple boats working that may be doing illegal activity or poaching and they scatter, you can track more than one. So we can actually maintain 24/7 eyes in the sky on something.
These versatile machines can be operated in almost any environment, and NOAA is already using drones for many other applications, including hurricane research, measuring penguin populations in Antarctica, surveying coastlines after oil spills to direct cleanup efforts, as well as studying whale populations and collecting their breath for DNA analysis.
We will be able to use these systems and systems like them to do things that we haven't been able to do before. And over time, the power requirements will get less, the sensors will get cheaper, the batteries will get better. So I think there's a bright future where we will see unmanned, whether they're remotely operated or autonomous systems, be they in the air, on the water, or below the water, that are going to carry sensors and collect data for us that'll help us understand the planet and hopefully manage it better.
Truly effective marine surveillance needs to occur 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So we've come here to Hawaii to check out a state-of-the-art robotic device called the Wave Glider that could help revolutionize marine surveillance.
The Wave Glider is an unmanned ocean vehicle that has the unique ability to turn wave energy into propulsion. And it uses solar energy as well, and it gives us a new way of observing the ocean that really didn't exist before.
Originally developed to record and transmit humpback whale songs, the Wave Glider has been transformed into a cutting-edge ocean surveillance, exploration, and research tool that uses renewable energy to travel at sea for months at a time.
So the wave glider looks pretty cool from the surface, but if we want to see its wave propulsion technology up close, we got to get in the water.
The wave glider propels itself through the water by harnessing the difference in wave energy between rolling waves at the surface and a weighted wing system that hangs in the calmer seas below. As waves move the float at the surface up and down, the glider's wings rise and fall, propelling the vehicle forward. When seas are calm, a solar electric thruster can give the device an extra boost of speed. Gliders can move at up to 3 knots almost indefinitely, only needing to briefly stop once or twice a year to be cleaned of the algae and barnacles that grow on it during its long deployments. Over the past decade, wave gliders have collectively traveled over 1 million nautical miles. In 2013, one glider set a world record for the longest single journey by an autonomous vehicle, traveling over 9,000 nautical miles from California to Australia.
Gliders can carry large payloads of scientific sensors to measure weather, sea conditions, water quality, and ocean chemistry, map the seafloor, or even to track whales and fish. However, one of its most exciting capabilities is to pull specialized microphones through the water.
Acoustic energy propagates in the ocean much better than it does through the air, 4.5 times faster, and depending on the density structure of the ocean, you can have sound propagate for thousands of miles. So the wave glider, which was born as a listening device for whales, is a very good listening device for anything else, including fishing boats that are not where they're supposed to be.
In the future, fleets of wave gliders could be deployed to patrol large-scale marine protected areas and work in tandem with other emerging technologies, like satellites and UAVs, to create an even more efficient and effective monitoring program.
Wave gliders and unmanned aerial vehicles go quite well together. What we can do is we can hear things from a long way away and say something is going on in that area. I like to think of them like a robot park ranger. The wave glider can be out in the park. Now, of course, he doesn't need to go home to his family at the end of the day. It doesn't need refueling. The wave gliders can just stay in the park for months at a time. But it won't just be like a park ranger, it won't just be one job. They'll be monitoring wildlife at the same time, perhaps as monitoring illegal activity or legal activity, but human activity in the protected area.
Our future is at stake, the future of our children, the future of our country. It's not too late, but I think drastic measures need to be taken because it's not just the problem in Palau, it's not just the problem in the Pacific, it's a global problem.
In some parts of the world, this is the primary protein source, is fisheries. And if those resources are lost, if you fish everything out, then that's going to have to come from somewhere else. So you can either make sure that you have a sustainable and compliant fishery in that area, or you can let this problem fester, which is going to lead to significant economic and possibly greater instability in a lot of these developing countries that don't have the resources to really enforce their marine zones.
In this last year, we've protected more of the ocean than we've ever protected any year before that. A lot of governments are starting to understand the importance of protecting some of these areas. They're seeing the value in making sure that they control their fisheries a little bit better and that they can keep some of these critical undersea habitats deeply protected. And so it's a really exciting time. Now there's a desire to protect more and more of the ocean, but at the same time we have to make sure that it's actually protected and it's not just what we like to call a paper park, park on paper alone. It's actually got to be enforced and monitored and protected for it to be successful.
It's very exciting that so many new technologies are being developed to help make marine surveillance and enforcement more effective.
While there will always be a need for conventional tools like boats and planes, it's impressive to see what can be done with new technologies and how they can benefit countries around the world, like Palau, to protect the resources they depend upon for survival.
Of course, we can all help by being more careful about the seafood we eat. And governments everywhere need to establish more marine reserves and create tougher punishments for the people and corporations that fish illegally.
There is still a lot of work to be done to perfect these systems, but we have no doubt that they will forever change how we monitor and protect the ocean, the life support system of the entire planet.
Join us and dive deeper into the episodes at thewaterbrothers.ca.